Okay, Shalom, Shalom, Kwame Allah, Koholim La Yahweh, Bahashim Yahweh Shai, Bahashim, Rachaha Hadash, double honors to our apostles and elders of Great Millstone who well, and that by the Spirit taught us this beautiful truth. Just want to say the water to all the H.I.M and Akhwa that's out here sincerely keeping the laws, the statutes, and commandments of Yahweh Bahashim Yahweh Shai to the best of their ability. This is Yachanan Nawah, just coming at you with another quick lesson, praying that it's edifying by the Spirit. Have up the copyright disclaimer because I want to play a video for educational purposes, not getting any monetary value off of it at all. And it says under Section 107 of the Copyright Act 1976, allowance is made for fair use for purposes such as criticism, comment, news reporting, teaching, scholarship, and research. Fair use is the use permitted by copyright statute that might otherwise be infringing. Nonprofit education or personal use tips the balance in favor of fair use. So with that, I want to grab a quick video and to just show where we are in the world right now as far as the the attitudes of the people, this separation and division, divisiveness that's going on amongst just everywhere. Is amongst these Republicans, Democrats, liberals, independents, white, black, women, men, parents, children. It's just division all over the place, man. And especially in these Americas, and this place is about to fall. So let me grab the video real quick. Okay, so if you're familiar with this actor, he done played in a lot of stuff. We're familiar with him from, Spike Lee movies and shit. But, he done had a nice long career, in this industry. But it says Breaking Bad star Giancarlo Esposito says it's time for a revolution, says some people would die, but we just gonna get what he said, you know what I'm saying? I think it's from Variety. And again, this is for educational purposes only, where somebody has it up as Rap House TV. So I'm not getting any monetary value off of it, but he's going off into this revolution. Supposedly, and it's going to be a revolution because the Egyptian is going to be against the Egyptian. But see, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, you need to stay out of it. And I'm not sure exactly what bro is, you know what I'm saying? Which tribe he is. I'm thinking Northern Kingdom, though, but yeah, he needs to just shut the fuck up and stay out of it overall. But they see these so-called white people, they love catching you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans up on these red carpets. And get to asking you questions to pick your mind, and you get to discriminating yourself, you know what I'm saying? Or, just say, hey, look, I don't have nothing to do with that. No comment. I don't want to even talk about that. And keep that shit moving. Because, see, these Edomites, they're known for sticking a microphone in Jake's face and fucking his career up. But, he was unapologetic, I guess, about what he was saying. So let's just play the video and let's see.
This is time for a revolution. It's time for it, and they don't even know that's what they're starting. Some very rich old white men are exerting their power to suppress our own people, thus creating a feeling of civil war in the streets.
Well, he's not going to tell you that, and he has to know. There's no way he's, because he's a pretty intelligent guy, pretty good actor. He didn't just, stick to those street bullshit movies. He played some pretty decent roles in some pretty decent movies, and just I'm thinking he's from New York or out that area. But anyway, it's kind of hard to move about this earth and not hear about the Hebrew Israelites, but anyway, this thing is about Esau and Jacob. He's saying the old white men, those old white men that he's talking about, that's biblically, that's Esau. That's the biblical name for the so-called white race. And they have this perpetual hatred towards you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans because of the birthright and because of the blessing. In Genesis 25, the birthright, Genesis 27 was the blessing. And Esau, he has that perpetual hatred. Let me just grab that real quick. No rush to just rush through the video like that because it's only like a minute or so anyway. But let me get this perpetual hatred scripture. And he's talking about a revolution. And, you got to wait on the Lord, man. You can't just be. But hey, a lot of 2/3 Jake, they gonna get that business anyway, right along with Esau. It's just gonna be an all out bloodbath. A lot of Edomites gonna be killing Edomites, the Egyptian against the Egyptian, and a lot of you stupid ass Jake, you gonna try and jump in the fight as if this is your country, and you should just step back and let these people do, blow themselves away. Ezekiel 35:5, because thou hast had a perpetual hatred and hast shed the blood of the children of Israel by the force of the sword in the time of their calamity, in the time that their iniquity had an end. Therefore, as I live, saith the Lord God, I will prepare thee unto blood, and blood shall pursue thee, since thou hast not hated blood, even blood shall pursue thee. So this is eventually what's coming to you, to these Edomites anyway. These so-called white people, they about to be killing each other. So all you got to do is just step back and watch it. Now they're going to be coming after Jake because that's that hatred that they have for Jake, man. It's going to be, it's just prophetic that it's set up that way anyway. But this is Isaiah 19:2. And I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptians. Okay, you can say, well, that's talking about Egyptians. No, this is talking about good old America, spiritual Egypt, man. Sodom and Egypt, for that matter, because this place is a haven, a safe haven for sodomy. It says, and I will set the Egyptian against the Egyptian, and they shall fight everyone against his brother, and everyone against his neighbor, city against city, and kingdom against kingdom. See? So these people are about to buck up against each other. Matter of fact, that's in the Apocrypha as well. Let me see. I don't know if I still got this Bible up. Let me check this out real quick. 2nd Esdras 15. Yeah, these people about to get to bucking against each other. They about to get to pewing. And see, I can't say that this guy's wrong because, there's going to be a lot of people that's going to, there's going to be some Jake that's going to get involved, but they're going to get the asses blown away. But they're going to do a lot of damage too. Jake going to rile, the Lord going to rile Jake up. This is 2nd Esdras chapter 15. Let me start at verse 4. It says, woe to the world and them that dwell therein, for the sword and their destruction draweth nigh, and one people shall stand up and fight against another, and swords in their hands. See that? Now, the modern day sword today is that gun, but it can be any weapon. Tire iron from your back of your damn trunk, a damn brick, a rock, a damn tree limb, a club, anything that a person can find to cause damage to you, that's going to be a sword, man. But mainly it's talking about that gun. And Esau, of course, ultimately his nuclear might, that nuclear weapon. For there shall be sedition among men and invading one another. They shall not regard their kings nor princes, and the course of their actions shall stand in their power. There's not going to be no, they're not going to be listening to no fucking police officers talking about stand down. No damn ICE agents talking about stand down. They're not going to be thinking about the president, the fucking governor, the senator, the mayor. They're not going to be thinking about no public officials. And that when this time comes, man. All right? So it says, a man shall desire to go into a city and shall not be able. And that can be for a number of reasons. First off, the military might have your damn street cut off. Or it just may be so fucking chaotic, you may not even want to be coming out of your house. Especially you women, man. It says, for because of their pride, the city shall be troubled. The cities shall be troubled. The houses shall be destroyed, and men shall be afraid. See, men going to be afraid, so you women going to be terrified. Your children going to be screaming. You ain't going to know what the fuck to do. A man shall have no pity upon his neighbor, but shall destroy their houses with the sword, and spoil their goods because of the lack of bread, and for great tribulation. Because when this shit gets going, first thing that's going to happen is that all the stores are going to be looted. Gas stations are going to be looted. They're going straight in there for the food. And Jake just so damn stupid. They going for whiskey, vodka, gin, Hennessy, lottery tickets that their ass is not going to be able to cash in. Cigarettes, blunt wraps, doofy shit. But the ones with some sense going to be grabbing up the food. But still, once that happens, that can go down and all that shit could be cleared within a day. Easy. And if it's not cleared in a day, you're going to want to watch yourself coming out of your house anywhere you go. It's going to be, you better be looking over your goddamn shoulders, because it's going to be motherfuckers anywhere that anybody seeing anybody. You're a target, especially if you're a woman. right? So let's go back into what he's talking about here. Get a little bit more.
Airing the haters to hate, teaching them how to shoot. They're not even trained right, to kill. This is all a preparation for a very insidious problem that's happening in our world. And for me, I have to speak out that we will not be iced out. This is not going to happen. They can't take.
Oh, 2/3 of you are. Let me get that. 2/3 of you are. It just is what it is, man. Let me see if I can find where's that boy at. It's been a second on it, but no, 2/3 of you, Jake. You're not under the protection of Yahweh Bashim Yahushai. Your ass is done. That ass is grass, buddy. But again, like I said, hey, Jake gonna cause some damage. The Lord gonna let Jake get down a little something, something. But Esau, he got the ultimate sword. But see, this is gonna be punishment towards the 2/3, man. Let me see. How is it worded? Let me see. I'm trying to think how it's worded. So, like, you bear with me. Yeah. Zechariah 13:9. And I will bring the third part. Let me just go into it. And I will bring the. No, let me start at verse 8. And it shall come to pass that in all the land, saith the Lord, 2 parts therein shall be cut off and die. See that? But the third shall be left therein. So if you're not a third, you're done. If you're a part of those 2/3, your ass is done. And I will bring the third part through the fire, and will refine them as silver is refined, and will try them as gold is tried. They shall call on my name, and I will hear them. I will say, it is my people, and they shall say, the Lord Yahweh is my God. And that's the true name of the Father and Son. You have to be calling on Yahweh, which means he exists, or the existing one, in the name of his Son Yahushai, which means that he's the Savior and deliverer in the Paleo-Hebrew. Because this guy, he might believe in the same white Jesus that those old-ass white men that he talking about set up. He, because a lot of our people are gonna get destroyed because they believe in white Jesus, which is a damn idol, man. All that Islam shit. Anyway, let's go back to the video.
Us all down. If the whole world showed up on Putin's doorstep or on the Iranian's doorstep or in Washington, it would stop. They'll kill 550 million, however, but the rest of us would survive with a.
See, he's thinking about a world. He's thinking about all races of people or all ethnicities. He's not thinking about his own nation. See, the Lord is about to take these other nations down because they are the enemies of the Lord, man. Let me get Psalms 83 real quick. These nations are the enemies of the Lord. Here's a whole list of the nations right here. And because see all those nations that you see, he's trying to gather with these nations. Those nations hate you because you are one of the, you are an Israelite, man. Psalm chapter 83. Let me start from verse 1. A psalm or a psalm of Asaph. Keep not thou silence, O Yahweh. Hold not thy peace, and be not still, O Yahweh. And this is what we're praying for. For lo, thine enemies make a tumult, and they that hate thee have lifted up the head. So the Lord has enemies and people that hate him. And 2/3 of our people actually hate the Lord when he gave you the blessing. He gave you the birthright. They have said, Salakia, they have taken crafty counsel against thy people, and consulted against thy hidden ones, which are the Israelites, you so-called blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. They have said, come, and let us cut them off from being a nation, that the name of Israel may be no more in remembrance. All these nations came up together as a confederate and done that. And it's going to go on to say that. For they have consulted together with one consent. They are confederate against thee. See? Here's the very first people on the list. Edom, so-called white man, the so-called white race, the tabernacles of Edom, and the Ishmaelites, which are your so-called, they call them Arabs, they call them, Muslims, they call them, Yemens, whatever, you know what I'm saying? But those are your Ishmaelites. Of Moab, which is your so-called Chinese, and they hate your ass. Sometimes I be questioning, like, who hates you the most? Is it them? Is it the so-called white man or these damn Moabites? But see, these Moabites, they don't have no power over it. So really, Esau really putting the smash on Jake, man. It says, and the Hagarenes, Gibal, and Ammon, and Amalek, which those are the top of the Edomites. Those J double O's over there in Israel right now. Them tiny tops. Those are the top tribe of the so-called white race. And they're the ones that's really pushing all the bullshit out here. The Philistines with the inhabitants of Tyre. So you got Africans, Hamites, because we're not Africans. You have to realize that so-called blacks, Hispanics, or so-called blacks here in the Americas, they are not Africans. We're not, everybody with melanin is not the same people, man. Those are, that's a different set of people, and the Lord gonna punish their asses too. But see, the point that I wanted to make is all these nations are against us. But let me go back to what he's saying. Let's see what else we can get.
This is time for a revolution. It's time for it, and they don't even know that's what they're starting. But we have to be strong enough to know that we can change the world. We have to change it from within. So if I'm spiritually ready and right, and I'm ready to understand other people, and
Well, if you're not calling on Yahweh, by H.I.M, you're not spiritually ready and right. And we can clearly see that you're not spiritually ready and right because you're thinking about the world. The scriptures talks about how you're an enemy to the Lord if you are part of this world. Let's see if we can find that. See, he likes his acting career. He don't mind acting. He done had a decent little life and that shit. He's thinking about the people as a whole, but the Lord is not thinking like that. The Lord created nations of people, and He chose a nation of people out of all the nations that He created, and that's the children of Israel. Let me see how that scripture is worded. Yep, James 4:4. Ye adulterers and adulteresses, know ye not that the friendship of the world is enmity with Yahweh? Whosoever therefore will be friend of the world is an enemy of Yahweh. So this guy, he's an enemy of the Lord. And let me get I mentioned that. I think it's Deuteronomy 32:8. Let me start at verse 7. It says, remember the days of old, consider years of many generations, ask thy father, and he will show thee, thy elders, and they will tell thee, when the Most High divided to the nations their inheritance. Right? So the Lord divided all the nations in inheritance. When he separated the sons of Adam, he set the bounds of the people according to the number of the children of Israel. So the Lord chose the children of Israel. You can go Deuteronomy 7:6. Another backup on that. For thou art an holy people unto Yahweh thy God. Yahweh thy God hath chosen thee to be a special people unto himself, above all people that are upon the face of the earth. And that's the reason why these nations, they got it out for you. And especially Esau. Well, let me go back into the Apocrypha real quick. Where's that boy at? I was already in there. Let's go to 2nd Ezra chapter 6. In verse 54. And start there. It says, and after these Adam also, whom thou madest Lord of all thy creatures, of him come we all, and the people also whom thou hast chosen. So the Lord, there's a separation right there. Everybody come from Adam, but there's a chosen people out of Adam. We just read it in Deuteronomy 7:6. All this have I spoken before thee, O Yahweh, because thou madest the world for our sakes. So this is what this guy should be thinking on. He should be thinking about the world as far as our sake, our society, our kingdom. But he's thinking about everybody else. As for the other people, which also come of Adam, thou hast said that they are nothing, but be like unto spittle, and has likened the abundance of them unto a drop that falleth from a vessel. So these people are considered to be nothing. And now, O Yahweh, behold, these heathen, these nations, these people that he's talking about, they're heathen, man, which have ever been reputed as nothing. They've always been nothing, have begun to be lords over us and to devour us. So he's not thinking from a standpoint of, let's get the fuck from under these people. He wants to continue on moving along with them, as if we're all just this group of people that's just in love with each other. But we, thy people, whom thou hast called thy firstborn, thy only begotten, and thy fervent lover, are given into their hands. Who gave us into their hands? Yahweh. By H.I.M Yahushai for disobedience. And he's going to be the one that's going to get us out of their hands. See, they talking about manifest destiny. They think that they're, the world is just so great because of them. They came up with all this stuff because of their own merits and their own smarts. And nah, man, the Lord gave them everything that they have, and He's gonna snatch that shit right up from them. It says, if the world now be made for our sakes, why do we not possess an inheritance with the world? How long shall this endure? So this guy don't even know that we don't even have an inheritance with the world. We don't have no inheritance with these people. They breaking shop on our asses. Well, let's go back. Let's see what else is in here. A little bit more or less to the
to agree to disagree with them and say, okay, let's find the solution together, then that starts to change things. Not by deporting immigrants, not by killing brown and even white people on the street. It's crossing over now, and believe me, this is gonna really spark the nature of so many people who are gonna show up and say no more.
Yeah, it is. It's turning over now because some a couple of so-called white people done got gunned down, but that's gonna take that Egyptian, against Egyptian to the next level. So that's pretty much it about what he was saying in this video. But let me just get one more scripture. Our people just they don't have it, man. They don't have it. And I'm sure this guy done heard about the Hebrew Israelites before. He probably knows. What is that? I think is that Zephaniah? Let me see. No, that's not what I need. What was Zephaniah? Damn, I was right there. I'm bugging. Zephaniah 3:8. Therefore wait ye upon me. See, we're not to get involved with this shit. We waiting on the Lord. Therefore wait ye upon me, saith the Lord Yahweh, until the day that I rise up to the prey. You trying to do anything beforehand, you going against the Lord because you're going against his rule. You're going against his setup. For my determination is to gather the nations, that I may assemble the kingdoms, to pour upon them mine indignation, even all my fierce anger, for all the earth shall be devoured with the fire of my jealousy. So we're waiting on the Lord, man. We're not, going out marching and striking people in the face or doing over. We just doing these lessons, man. These scriptures is what's kicking their asses. And it's a far better ass kicking than you can ever put on Esau. These words are cutting their asses up. Well, let me go to let me get in now with this one, Yahweh Revelation 13. Let me start at verse 9. And it reads, if any man have an ear, let him hear. He that leadeth into captivity shall go into captivity. He that killeth with the sword must be killed with the sword. Here's the patience and the faith of the saints. And this is the bottom line end result of Esau. And this is what needs to happen, because you can't just leave some of them, the ones that you thinking like, oh, well, they're not that way. No, if they get in power, they're going to automatically turn into a goddamn terrorists on your ass, basically, man. These people got to be put down. They're evil, man. The Lord didn't create any of them to be righteous, man. Now, you may see some of them and they look like so-called white people, but they're actually Israelites. But we talking about straight Edomites. And we and the Apostle Gabar, he been going into, as of late, the top ones, the top ones, the bangers, man. That's really, those are the Edomites that's really in rulership and the ones that's really living like kings on the planet. And really, moving the planet, man, the way that they want, but it's the Lord as well. Because that Proverbs 21:1, let me just get it real quick. It talks about how the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord. Proverbs 21:1, the king's heart is in the hand of the Lord as the rivers of water. He turneth it whithersoever he will. So the elite, they have no idea that the Lord is moving them like chess pieces. They think that they're in power. But the Lord is the one that's moving them, because those are the top kings of the earth. Those are the ones that's out here with no social security number. They don't need no damn driver's license. They don't need no fucking permit. They just out here just got the best of every guy. You couldn't even possibly imagine the way that these elite are fucking living, man. You couldn't fathom. Here you go pulling up through a damn drive-through. You pulling up at fucking Benihana's or whatever the fuck, or whatever you may think may be your most expensive restaurant, and they looking at that shit like, man, that's trash. They would never eat there. They would never drink the drinks that you drink. You motherfuckers sitting on, you know what I'm saying, some fucking wine from the damn 9th century or some shit. Going back to the days of Yahushai. Pulling a bottle of that shit out, man, just dusty as hell, and drinking the best of the best, eating the best of the best, wearing the best of the best. You ain't, these people on a whole nother level. But guess what? The same way that they're up, the Lord is going to bring their asses down. And that's going to be a harsh punishment for Esau. And it's just going to be boots to the ass from there, man. So with that, I pray that the lesson was edifying. From Yasha Allah and a Baba Ball.